Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Rybrary. I am your librarian. No talking in the Rybrary. Hope you're all doing very well today. It's because it's the first day of October and everyone loves October. I particularly love October because it's Halloween month and I love horror and horror stuff. So I'm going to be trying something different here today. In the previous 2 months that I've been doing this, I did my monthly wrap up of what I read in the previous month combined with my TBR for the next month. And I thought this month, because it's October and it's Halloween and everything, and I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to read some horror, that I would do something special and try something different at the same time. So I just decided to split the end of month stuff into two videos this time, and today is going to be the TBR for the month of October, and then there'll be a separate video that comes out for my recap of the stuff I read in September. The other thing that I'm going to be trying here today is that I'm going to be rolling dice to decide what I'm going to be reading this month. I'm a big fan of the booktuber Paperback Journeys. His name is Jay, but the channel name is Paperback Journeys. He's one of my favorites. And he does this thing every month where he, spins a wheel to decide what he's going to be reading. Like he'll have, 8 options or whatever, and then spin the wheel 4 times to pick the 4 books that he's going to actually read. I think that's really cool. It's always fun to watch, and I figured I would like to try doing something like that, but I don't have a wheel. But I do have a lot of dice because I do a lot of RPG gaming, so I have a bunch of dice. And so I figured I would try to roll some dice to see what I'm going to be reading for the month of October. I have 10 books that are candidates that I'm going to assign to the numbers 1 through 10. And I'm going to go through each of those and talk about them a little bit here up top. And then when I get to the end of the list, I'm going to go through and roll this here 10-sided die, or a d10 if you're nasty. And I'm going to see what numbers come up on it, and I'll pick the books that correspond with whatever numbers come up when I roll it. So I think I'm going to roll it enough times to get 5 selections, and then I'm going to try to read 4 of those and have the 5th one as like a stretch goal if I have time left. Also, doing it that way gives me a little kind of wiggle room because I'm very much a mood reader, and I usually wouldn't do something like this, but I'm trying to try new things here and have fun in these videos, experimenting with how I read and that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to trying this out. But I also want to have some wiggle room in terms of like I can, I'll read 4 of these 5, and whichever one doesn't sound super appealing to me, I'll just not read right now. So yeah, this should be a lot of fun, and let's get started with the list. And I will be listing them in order of their assigned numbers. That if I roll. The first book here that I'm going to list is number 1. So if I roll a number 1, that'll be one of the picks. All right, so let's get going with number 1. And number 1 on the list is When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. New book just came out this year by a rising name in modern horror, Nat Cassidy. I really liked his novella Rest Stop, and I'm looking forward to reading this very much. This is about a young woman who finds a young boy and gets into a violent confrontation with the boy's father when she tries to bring him back, and then the two of them are on the run and are being kind of pursued by the father, and there are these kinds of weird violent events kind of following their trail. And that's most of what I know about the book. It sounds really cool and has been getting lots of praise. So yeah, I very much would love to be reading When the Wolf Comes Home. Next book on the list that will be corresponding with the number 2 is Slugs by Sean Hudson. Pulpy, trashy, animal attack kind of horror from the 80s. Sean Hudson is kind of a big name in that kind of, grisly and not too, literary horror from the 80s, and I'm very much looking to check his work out. And I'm not sure exactly what this is about, other than it's slugs start attacking and killing and eating people. Man, I love I love that cover so much. You're so beautiful. Next book on the list at position number 3 is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, the only one that I don't have a physical copy of here. This book came to my attention because I mentioned to someone that it would be cool to have a horror story about, an IKEA and that kind of thing, and because it's like a nightmare maze in there if you've ever been in an IKEA, and they informed me that it already exists. So Grady Hendrix got there first. Grady Hendrix is a big name in modern horror. He has written other books like Final Girl Support Group, My Best Friend's Exorcism, and How to Sell a Haunted House. These are all very popular books, and I think one of the reasons for his popularity is the style of horror that he writes, and that's a very fun, relatively light kind of horror that's usually more on the spooky side, less on the visceral horror side. From what I understand, I haven't actually read any of his books. This will be the first one if it comes up. I am looking forward to this, even though that kind of fun, lighter horror it tends to be less of my thing. That doesn't mean by any means that I can't enjoy that kind of thing. And Grady Hendrix is considered one of the greats in modern horror in that area of modern horror. So I'm definitely excited to at least check it out. And like I said, the concept, came to me already, and then I found out that it already existed. So I was like, it seemed that concept sounds pretty appealing to me. What the concept actually is that there's an IKEA type store, and the employees there are starting to realize that it's like haunted or something, and they have to investigate that. Sounds a lot of fun, and here's hoping that Grady Hendrix will be appealing to me. The book in the number 4 position is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. This is like Native American horror about some kind of entity that follows a group of men throughout their lives. I don't really know a ton much more about it than that, and I don't really want to. I try to not be spoiled too much on this kind of thing. But Stephen Graham Jones is another big modern name in horror that I have yet to check out and that I'm looking forward to checking out. Seems a little bit more in my wheelhouse than Grady Hendrix, but who knows? The book in the number 5 position is The Fisherman by John Langan. And I gotta say, this is the one I'm hoping for the most, and I might end up reading even if it doesn't come up. So apologies if I end up breaking my own rules, but I really, really want to read this. And this is a cosmic horror book. You might have noticed I've gotten a few different styles so far in the books that I have, and that was intentional. I wanted to have a nice selection of different styles of horror to give myself a varied experience during this month. This is about two fishermen named Abe and Dan who are widowers, and they became friends after their wives passed, and they started fishing in upstate New York, not far from where I grew up, and they kind of stumble upon this old legend of this entity called the Fisherman or Der Fischer, and it goes from there. John Langan is a name that is very high on my list of people I want to read stuff from. He is compared often to Thomas Ligotti, who I'm a big fan of in terms of the kind of horror that he does. He also gets compared to and is good friends with Laird Barron, another cosmic horror author who I'm a big fan of. So yeah, this better make it onto the list, because I'm gonna have to break my own rules, certainly, if it's not certainly, but probably gonna break my own rules if if it's not on that list. The book in the number 6 position is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. This is more on the thriller side, and I wanted to have a book in there that is, more of a thriller, and just has like really intense atmosphere, and that's kind of what this book brings to the table from what I gather. It is about a young woman and her boyfriend who are going on a trip, and she's thinking of ending things with him during this time, but then things start to get weird on their trip, and things kind of spiral into into madness or whatever. Yeah, this sounds really cool. And as you can see, it's a Netflix film now, so maybe I'll check that out if I end up reading this. Book number 7 on my TBR candidate list is Lumberjack by Anthony Engebretson. This is a small published book by Tenebris Press, a small horror publishing company that I think is cool. And I picked this up at their table at the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival here in Portland that I went to a couple weeks ago, which was a lot of fun, and which I'll probably talk about more in some other videos. This is a little novella, not super long, and I wanted to, give my, I wanted to get a shorter one in there, as well as an indie book to round out my options. This is about a demon that is supposedly haunting the woods in Arbor Lodge. I'm not sure where that is, but and a lumberjack who is hired to go deal with it. And it looks really cool, and I love that cover art. So this could be a lot of fun. Definitely want to get some more indie reading under my belt for sure. Candidate number 8 is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. Most people probably know what The Exorcist is about. It was turned into a classic horror movie. It is about a mother and her attempts to rid her daughter of a possession, a demonic possession that she believes is happening to her young daughter. And she enlists the help of a couple priests. I have heard that this is as frightening and unsettling, or more so, than the movie. So I'm very much looking forward to checking that out. I also am a big fan of the movie, so I definitely want to read the source material. And number 9 on the list is my ghost story pick, and that story is The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. Really cool ghost story that I've seen the movie, and I've actually seen the play also that is based on it. This is about a lawyer in London who is sent to somewhere in rural England to settle the affairs of a deceased client. And on his arrival there, starts to experience, paranormal phenomena and haunting stuff and whatnot. And both the play and the movie, I remember being very kind of frightened and unsettled. And that's kind of a rarity for me with ghost stuff. I'm not someone who's, particularly frightened of ghost stuff or, particularly in love with it generally. So it's notable to me for that, and that's why I have the book. What's spooky season without some ghosts? And finally, the last entry on the list, number 10, is Howls from the Dark Ages, which is an anthology of medieval horror stories edited by P.L. Macmillan and Solomon Force. And it has a foreword by Christopher Buehlman, which is kind of what got my attention about this book. I'm sure that also is why some other people have picked up on the existence of this book, because Christopher Buehlman is, of course, the author of Between Two Fires, a very, very popular horror book from the last decade or so. That is a medieval horror novel, and, people love it. And also, there isn't a lot of other stuff out there like it, to my knowledge. And, I see people asking for recommendations in this area a lot on like Reddit and stuff. And this is pretty much, one of the few in terms of like medieval horror novels. Not this, but Between Two Fires. But yeah, all that's to say that, there is definitely a desire out there, and I certainly have it, for more, medieval horror. And so I picked this up, and I'm really hoping that it's awesome. All right, so those are the 10 books on my list, and now we are going to do the big event and roll the dice to see what books I am going to read for the month of October. If the same number comes up more than once, I'm just going to, re-roll it. All right, here we go. Number 1. Ooh, number 0, and that means number 10. 0 means 10. So that means Howls from the Dark Ages is the first one to get picked. I wasn't expecting that necessarily. I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting Howls from the Dark Ages to be the first one to get picked. But I'm stoked. Let's go. Medieval horror. All right. Rule number 2. Again, we're going to be picking 5. Oop, that doesn't count. Fell out of my hand. Again, we're going to be picking 5, and I'm going to, pick from those 4 that I want to read in October. Okay, here we go. Number 2. Rule number 2. Ooh, number 1. So, When the Wolf Comes Home. Hell yeah. Yeah, When the Wolf Comes Home. That wolf is coming home. I guarantee it. All right. Rule number 3. Let's go. Here we go. Number 4. And number 4 is The Only Good Indians, Stephen Graham Jones. This looks really good. Very highly regarded. Him in general as an author. And so I'm looking forward to checking it out. So, Only Good Indians. Okay. Number 4. Here we go. Rule number 4. Number 9. Woman in Black. All right, yeah. Spooky ghost stuff. Let's do it. Awesome. And finally, number 5. Here we go. And again, if the fisherman doesn't come up here, I make no promises about if I'm going to stick with. I might swap one of these out for the fisherman because I really, really want to read it. But I'll be stoked no matter what. All right, let's go. It's another 10, so I'm going to re-roll. Number 2, Slugs. All right, sweet. Slugs, Sean Hudson. So there you have it, my friends. That is my TBR for the month of October. Howls from the Dark Ages, When the Wolf Comes Home, The Only Good Indians, The Women in Black, and Slugs. These are all of sort of reasonable length, so shouldn't have too much trouble getting through them. And I'm just really, really excited to be reading, a bunch of horror this month. I, just finished Children of Ruin, which is a sci-fi book, and I loved it, and it was awesome. And it even had some cool horror elements. But while I was reading it, I kept being like, this is awesome, but I kind of am really, really wanting to get to some horror here. I hope you're excited to read some good horror books in October. Please let me know in the comments what you are reading in the month of October. I will let you know how this goes. Again, I'm very much a mood reader, so, if I'm finding that this isn't working for me, I'm not necessarily going to stick to it. And I apologize, but, this is me figuring out how to do this channel and how to make it fit with my reading habits and that kind of thing. So bear with me while I figure out what works for me. Thank you again so much for visiting the Rybrary. Like and subscribe if you want. That would be awesome. I love you all very much, more than your own parents. No, okay, probably not more than your own parents, but I love you all very much. Thank you so much for visiting the Rybrary, and you may now talk.